Hi, welcome to First Place Rental here in Oswego, Illinois. This is our rental showroom. This is our new equipment. We are a Honda dealer, and when customers come in to make their rental contracts, they will either talk on the phone or meet in person with our inside sales staff. But this front showroom here is mainly new equipment, Honda sales, but it is our showroom for our new equipment. But we can proceed right through the process. The customer would come in, make their contract, and head on out to the full rental showroom also, and we can look at that. We are now in our rental equipment showroom. Once equipment has come back from rent with the customer, it gets logged in the computer. Customers will bring their equipment back. Our yard techs will then service, maintenance, and check in the equipment. Once it's been cleaned, processed, closed out in the system, it is green tagged, which means good to go, and that would then be placed in here. This is our small equipment. This would be lawn and garden, generators, pumps, small concrete equipment. All of our larger equipment would be stored outside, excavators, skidsters, aerial lifts. But this is just a rental showroom. Keep it presentable. Customers come in when they know we're taking care of our equipment. They're going to get a good, reliable product. And this is it for the small equipment rental. We have a large array of rental equipment for contractors, small contractors, landscapers, a lot of homeowners, chainsaws. We try and do informational training with them when they take to make sure they're familiar with the operation of it. We ask the customer not to leave until they are comfortable operating the equipment, so we will start it for them, run it for them, show them the basic operation. That way they get training before they leave, where they feel confident once they get to their job. It's a lot easier to show them here in person than it is to talk over the phone with them on how to start something. So try and make sure all of this stuff is started and run right in front of them before they leave. That way they have a good grasp and confident in their ability to operate and get their job done. Now we can go outside and we'll show you the large equipment storage area. All right, here we are in our outside equipment cage. We like to store all our excavators and skidsters. If they're not on rent here, they're either pre-check-in or they're green tagged ready to go. But most of the equipment out here is diesel on the right side here. Once they come back from a customer, they get filled, parked, ready to go. That way, once their time is ready in the computer to get their return check-in done, they'll get brought up, washed, serviced, greased, make sure everything's running properly, green tagged, and put back in here. We like to, kind of like a crescendo, we'll have our large equipment on one side and then the large equipment, and they taper down, so small excavator would be next to a small skidster. And then a lot of our lawn and garden equipment here with trenching and log splitters, stump grinders, power buggies. Try and have what people would need to get their job done. And a standard process for First Place Rental here is a customer would enter into our lot and would choose a lane to pick in. If they had checked in up front, we would direct them to what lane to pull into. If they have not checked in up front, they would just pick the first open lane. They would be greeted by an employee who would then direct them into whatever area they needed to go, most likely the inside sales counter. They would finish writing their contract or sending out a contract if it had already been reserved. And then through radio communication, the inside sales counter would let the staff know what unit, what number, what particular attachment or equipment that customer is getting, and letting them know what vehicle or what lane they're in. The customer would then get loaded. We'd help them secure it, go through any training or questions they had with it. If it's our equipment, our trailer, we would get all of that hooked up and chained down, have them double check hitches, chains, make sure it's leaving here in good operating status with the machine, and a safe, efficient loading process. Also, when a customer returns equipment, they would do the same thing. They would pull into the lot. They would then be greeted. We would call in hours. We would call in fuel level, whether it's used or returned full. That way the contract can be closed and completed accurately with the correct hours and fuel, and the equipment coming back. Maybe there was an item forgot on a job site. It would then be confirmed over the radio. Customer is returning this piece of equipment and this. That way we can just double check, make sure all the equipment is coming back. Sometimes the customer doesn't realize there was multiple items. We want to make sure we're closing it correctly and everybody is getting charged properly for what they had. But that is typically the process. Come in, get assistance, get loaded or unloaded, get the correct equipment, and then they would leave out that further end. And if they were getting propane or something else, a smaller item, they might pull up to a dock door where there's rather ramped, or if they had a lift gate, we would take care in appropriate measures to get them into the right door and the right equipment loaded there. That would be the process for coming and getting something for rental. Now we are in our small equipment check-in area. This would be the next step in the process. Once a customer returns their equipment, it would go into the computer and be marked as an IMO, which is an internal maintenance order. If it's smaller and not a large piece of equipment to go out to the cage, it would be brought in here to our small equipment area. It would then be gone through a list, and it would be checked in the order it was taken in. So we don't typically cherry pick unless there's a customer needing something immediately. We would literally go by the time and the date it got brought in, so everything gets done in an orderly fashion. They are brought out to a wash bay if needed, or they're vacuumed out if it's concrete. They would be cleaned, checked in, water run through it, operated, plugged in, tested for any ground faults. We would also put some kind of a luster on the equipment, wipe it down, that way it looks clean. Everything is, all the grease zerks are greased, fuel filters are checked, air filters are blown out, recoil ropes are checked. Every process that you might have an issue with on a job, we want to replicate here. That saves a service call down the road or a phone call of an angry customer. We want to test everything from start to finish right here, and this is the area that would be done. We have lots of supplies, grease, paint, fluids, everything at the disposal of the employees. That way they know just what they need, and we keep tallies on all those stock items. Chainsaws and pole pruning saws, everything was out with a brand new chain, so we would change all that here, get those ready for rental. But this is the small check-in area. Typically on a Monday morning, this would be 3 or 4 units deep and 10 wide, but we are getting caught up. It is spring, so the cooler weather has allowed some opportunities to get caught up in some of those areas. Once it is checked in, green tagged, then it would get moved over to the previously shown small equipment rental show area. And that would be the process, start to finish.